Welcome to Dysfunctionally Yours, the podcast where we embrace the chaos, laugh through the struggles, and find hope on the other side of trauma. I'm your host, Brittany, and if you've ever felt like your life was a beautifully messy roller coaster of dysfunction, trust me, you're in good company. Here, we'll have real, raw, and sometimes ridiculous conversations about mental health, relationships, and healing, because let's be honest, life isn't always pretty, but that doesn't mean we can't come out of it stronger and maybe even smiling. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of bubbles, and let's navigate this wild journey together, dysfunctionally, but never alone.
Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Dysfunctionally Yours. I am your host, Brittany, and I almost forgot what I was doing here. So that's where we are today. This coffee is so hot. I feel like I've been waiting an eternity to drink it, and it's still just scorching. I hate when that happens, you know? Or like you go and you're in a hurry, you go to like Starbucks and you get something and you're not the one that made it, and then they hand it to you and you're just like, sweet, I just want to take a drink. I want this so bad. And then you burn your poor little taste buds, and then you can never taste anything ever again for the next like day and a half or 5 days, depending on that. And like pizza rolls, Hot Pockets, those things all do it. A covered Starbucks cup, pizza rolls, Hot Pockets. Like you have to like bite the little corner off of them and let them air out. You know, this is mom hack. I don't use it anymore, but mom hack. I saw something this week that said live in a way that honors your beginning and your end. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. I'm probably going to circle back to it at some point in time, but it just really, I don't know, it really made me feel like I needed to search inward a little bit and think about some things, right? Just how am I going to show up? How do I want to handle certain situations? And does this honor where I came from, who I was, and where I want to be at the end of it all? And I think if we take a step back, just in any situation, whether that's in relationships, whether that's with our families, whether that is at work or I don't know, in the grocery store, just out in the community, living life at large, right? I think that it's important to just take a pause, take a little beat, and be like, hold on, how am I showing up? Does this honor who I am, who I was, and who I'm gonna be? And if we can do that and stay true to ourselves, then we probably have it made, right? We're probably 5 steps ahead of the game. Just a thought, just like random deep thoughts. What was that Saturday Night Live clip that was Deep Thoughts by Deep Thoughts by Son of a Biscuit. I'm going to Google it. This is Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was Saturday Night Live, and it was Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. And granted, they were not actual deep thoughts. They were something absolutely ridiculous. But every time I'm like, Deep Thoughts by Brittany, that is what I am referencing in my brain. So now you know, Deep Thoughts by Brittany. My ache. Let's jump into the ache and the relief of the week. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling on about heavens only knows what. So my ache and relief of the week. My ache of the week is that I had a kind of a weird social interaction this week, and everything was good. Everything was chill. Everything was wonderful. Everybody's living their best lives, you know. And then I had to step away for a moment. And then whenever I came back, everybody was gone and they just dipped with no words. And I was devastated. Like, I was so sad in this moment. It really hurt my feelings. It really felt deliberate and intentional. I'm not saying that it was. I am saying that the story that I told myself made it feel very deliberate and very intentional. And it made me cry. And I let everybody know, like, hey, that really hurt my feelings. And of course, everybody's like, sorry, you know, I hope that doesn't change things. And it was just kind of like, no, it's fine. It's fine. But it hurt my feelings. And then a couple days later came back around, social interaction. And they were like, I didn't think that you would like come back around. They were like, I'm glad that didn't stop you from coming around. And I was like, well, no. I mean, why would it? And they're like, I don't know. Like you said, your feelings were hurt. And I was like, well, yeah, but I'm not one to hold a grudge. Like, I am aware that there are times where I can be a little too sensitive or oversensitive, and the story I tell myself doesn't make it reality. And like, I don't hold a grudge. If you say you're sorry, usually let's just not do that again. But also the story I tell myself. So, but like the ache part of that being like, it did hurt my feelings. I was real sad about it and had to, get the pull up my big girl pants. Nobody likes that. My relief of the week is that I am feeling just very self-aware right now lately in the moon, the shift, the tides, who knows, the calendar, who cares? I just feel very self-aware right now. And I know that there are some big challenges that are just staring at me, trying to be like, poke, poke, poke. Poke, poke, poke. Let's get you to show up outside of yourself. Let's get you to show up in a way that we can like come back at you and be like, we knew that that's how you were. No, I'm very self-aware. I'm very self-aware, and we're not going to let that happen. So I am really taking a handful of challenges right now and just grabbed them by the horns and been very pleased with myself. Also, sometimes things get lost in translation, right? If you are listening on Apple or Spotify or something on one of the streaming services, you don't get to see all of my big gestures and all of the things that I don't say. And then if you're watching the YouTube, you might have caught that really funny joke that I just made without trying to make a joke. I'm so funny sometimes. Do you guys laugh at yourself? We should laugh at ourselves more. That coffee is like perfect temperature now. And now I'm about to start talking and it's going to get cold. But for the moment, perfect temperature. We love that. So with all of that, let's jump in to the episode. This is our Toot Your Own Horn episode, and I am excited. This one came requested through the Google form. And so part of me is really excited because I love the community that we're building and that there are ideas and thoughts and suggestions that come in and that I can run with those. That makes me happy. The other part of me is really excited about this because I just love the idea of being able to talk about our own personal victories, because I've really had to learn to be my own biggest cheerleader. And I know that I'm not alone in that boat at all. I'm sure there are so many of us out there that have had to learn to be our biggest cheerleaders because maybe we didn't have a cheerleader. Maybe we didn't have anybody. But also not even just that. I think that you can come from the most intact, beautiful families and still not necessarily know how to cheer yourself on. I think there are times where we have our own personal struggles that are not related to our families at all. And we still have to be able to learn how to cheer for ourselves, to advocate for ourselves, to celebrate ourselves as people. I know there was a time at like way back in a different job that I used to tell everybody, like, you need to write down all of these positive things. You need to write down all of the positive things that you think about yourself or that came up that day. Like, write down your small strengths, write down your victories of the day. Did you get out of bed today? Gold star. Gold star. There was a time where I did not get out of bed. So the days that I do get out of bed when I am really sad and it is really hard, I am like, look at me go. I got out of bed today. The other day I got out of bed, I took a shower and I put pajamas right back on again, but I had gotten up. I was clean. I even put mascara on. And then I was just chilling in my pajamas because that's what I wanted to do, because I didn't have the capacity to give anything to anybody else, but I was chilling and I was happy. I was content. This is just what I wanted to do. Celebrate that. And so learning to celebrate small victories is sometimes, and most times, a whole lot harder than looking at the really, really big victories. But the really, really big victories come very few and far between. So we have to cheer for ourselves on those small victories, those small wins that, like, oh, I had a great day. I got out of the door to work on time. I bought that person behind me their Burger King in the fast food line. True story. I did that the other day too. I was feeling very generous and I was like, hey, I'll pay for that lady's Burger King behind me. I really wanted a croissant sandwich, so I paid for hers too. And that made me feel good about myself. And, so yay, proud of myself. Yay, tooting my own horn. But I do believe that society and family and culture oftentimes has a way of convincing us that we shouldn't celebrate ourselves, that we should be very humble, that we should be quietly humble, that we should not boast or brag about ourselves because it's not appealing. I think a different generation of women coming up have very much been taught, like, don't be loud about your accomplishments because men don't want to hear that. I think that has shifted a smidge. I can't speak for everybody else. I can't speak for like the society at large. But I know that some of my biggest cheerleaders are, in fact, men, and not in a gross kind of way. It's just like men can celebrate women and their victories. People in general can celebrate each other and their victories. But we've been taught a lot of times that we shouldn't be loud about that it's unappealing, or that it's, too self-involved or egotistical or things like that. And that can be really hard, right? Because you don't always have somebody around in your corner to cheer you on. And also just, I would like to delicately challenge that, because why? Like, why can't we loud and proud celebrate our accomplishments? What difference does that make? Like, does me celebrating my accomplishments really harm you? I don't think so. I talked the other week ago about motivation, and there are a lot of people that are motivated by other people, motivated to be able to do that, motivated because they're like, I saw them do that, I can do that too, or motivated because they're just a very competitive person to be like, you did that, I will do that, right? We motivate other people, and none of that to be a negative thing. So I just don't understand why we can't continue to celebrate ourselves out loud and proud. For so many years, I have been told, like, you're too loud, you're too emotional, you're too opinionated, you're too sensitive, you're just too much. And I started to really believe that like, what can I do right? Like, there's nothing that I can do right. I'm just too much, and really trying to like hold that in and conform to what people, employers, like boyfriends, whatever, wanted me to be, because I didn't want to be too much. That sounds horrible, And then I also grew up in very much like this mean girl culture where like we were not going to celebrate other women. We weren't going to raise them up because like no woman should be better than me. And I fortunately feel like that has, again, there's some shift away from that where like women have gotten much better at advocating and supporting other women. And hopefully it's genuine. I know when I do it, it's genuine. And I know whenever the people around me do it, it's genuine. I'm sure you're always going to have your teenagers and you're always going to be like a young adult at some point, and it's not going to be that way. But if I succeed, you succeed. Like, we can succeed together. We can grow together. We can succeed together. So breaking free of some of those things, but that is not always easy. So all that to be said, when it's not easy, when you're breaking free of those molds, when those are the environments that you end up in, you really have to learn to cheer for yourself, because you know what you're doing and you're doing it the best that you can. So like, let's celebrate that. I said that I've always been told that I was too much. That's been across the board by so many people, but I did have a man named Lawrence Lambert that I worked with at one point, and I was having some of these conversations with him. He sat across from me one day, and I was very, very, very upset about all of this negative feedback that I had been given. And I was really struggling with it. And he looked at me, and in the most genuine way, he was like, Brittany, you are a shining star, and people don't like that. And don't you dare dull your shine for other people. It meant a lot coming from him, because he didn't know me super well. Like, it wasn't somebody that was, ride hard or like a ride or die in my corner or anything like that. He was just a respected human being at the job. And to have him say this as an observation that he had made, and really look at me. And he was, I don't know, genuinely a bit older than me, probably could have been my dad. To have this like wiser adult look at me and tell me like, don't dull yourself for other people. Like, you know what you're doing and you know what you possess, really meant a lot. And it's like, oh, well, there has to be some truth to that, right? There has to be, he's not just saying that. There has to be some truth to that. And so I had to start really looking at all of this internally to be like, okay, I'm allowed to shine. You can shine. I can shine. We can shine. Everybody can shine. And when you start to learn these lessons and you start to realize that, it goes a long way. But it was hard initially to do because it's really easy to believe all of the negative talk that's out there. The negative talk in your own brain is very loud. And the negative talk out there, whether it's just stuff you're getting from social media, pictures, images, magazines, TV, or people that you know, or relationships that you have, or whatever, that negative talk is very, very, very loud. And so it was hard. But I do think that growing and learning with my children and my career and just overall in my life, it really started to show me that he was right. You won't catch me on a day that I don't think that I'm a motherfucking star. I am a true treasure. I am a gem. And even on a bad day, I might get a little dirty, but we can shine that stuff right up. And I'm going to be a gem and a treasure tomorrow. And I believe that in myself. Like I do. Like, not so humble brag. I am amazing. I have a lot to learn. I have always areas to grow, but I really have come a long way in being very confident in myself and being very positive. But it has come from being able to celebrate myself when there was nobody else around, to celebrate myself in the very big victories. And there have been a few, and in the very small victories, celebrating in those like small wins, like at work, they can help keep you motivated. They can keep your morale up, and overall, like, that morale is going to impact others, and it's just going to continue to like feed into this very positive cycle. If you can celebrate yourself and then also celebrate others, that is going to set the precedent that other people are now also going to be willing and able and capable of doing this. Like, we can build together, we can grow together, but you're going to feel better about what you're doing and what your capacities and capabilities are at work and at home and in your personal life. Those celebrating those small victories, they really help with self-worth. They help with like self-esteem, how you feel about yourself when you wake up, how you feel about yourself when you do have those hard days, right? I've been very, very open and very, very honest about all of my struggles with depression and things like that. So this was not always, I was not born this way. I did not always feel this way. There was a pretty lengthy period of time where I didn't feel that way at all. But I was also really looking for the outside validation of the whole wide world. And you don't always get that. And they don't always see that. But you live with yourself each and every day, all day, every single day. Like, you are with you. You know what you overcame that day. You know what you tried to do, what you succeeded in. And so because you're the only one that knows you 24/7, you have to be able, again, to celebrate yourself. So with all of that, all of my, again, deep thoughts by Brittany. You guys wrote into the podcast. You guys wrote into the Google form. You guys wrote into the social medias. And I love that. I love the community. And I love that I can share you guys' stories and that you give them to me, because we are in this together. We are not alone, and people genuinely do need people. I can't even say it enough. And so I'm going to read some of these because I'm excited that you're excited about yourself, but like, I'm excited for you too. So with that, this first one says, kidding. This may not be along the lines of dysfunction, but I wanted to celebrate me and toot my own horn. Since starting my new job, I've started putting me first and building healthy habits. I work out 4 times a week, stopped drinking alcohol on work days, and I've started reflecting on my day in a journal daily. I have started therapy again and have given myself more grace and patience. I'm learning how to love myself at 26, and I am so happy with where I am at. I love that. I love that journey for you. I love that you're able to piece all of the things together, to celebrate yourself, and to start building those healthy habits, right? Because if they're a habit and they're healthy habits, they're easy to just continue doing even in the hard times, right? So being able to celebrate that, acknowledge that, it also builds some self-awareness, right? You know where you came from, you know where you are, and that's exciting. The next one said, my childhood and teenage years. Hard stop. My childhood and teenage years. And I feel that deep in my soul, deep in my soul. I want to also applaud you. I'm glad that you can see how far you've come. I'm glad that you can see that, like, you didn't have to stay there and that your past is not necessarily your present, because sometimes, I mean, those are the hardest years to overcome if they didn't go so great. So congratulations on that for reals. Next one. I am a recovering people pleaser. It's hard and I relapse, but it feels good to think about my needs first. Who can resonate with that? Who is just a certifiable people pleaser? I don't know that that's ever been, I would never describe myself as a people pleaser necessarily, and certainly not in comparison to some of my friends. But yeah, that it can be really quite a challenge to step that far outside of your comfort zone, to be able to say no, or to be able to enforce a boundary that's not comfortable, or just to be able to take care of yourself first and be like, you know what, that doesn't work for me or my schedule, my life, my time, my morals, my values, right? Like, I'm going to stay true to myself and what my needs are. And that is hard. And that takes a lot of work and dedication, and a lot of dedication to yourself. So congratulations on putting yourself first. Congratulations on being able to work through that and to give yourself the grace and patience that it's going to take also to, you know, when you do relapse, to be able to be like, you know what, but it's okay. That was just that one day and we can get back on. So congratulations to our recovering people pleasers out there. The next one says, letting go of the shame of a younger version of myself that no longer is me and doesn't define me. That is profound. I love that for you. I love that for you for a lot of different ways. I feel so passionately about, like, the little Brittany that is hanging out inside of me. And I know that there's a little version of all of us that is inside of us that we really forget to take care of sometimes. And maybe aren't so nice to that younger version and don't necessarily understand who they are or why they are the way that they are. Who made me this way? But I love that you've been able to take a step back and let go of any shame. Shame is such a nasty feeling to hold on to. It doesn't feel good at all. And to live with that every day is tough. So congratulations. Congratulations on being able to let go of that and really understand that who you were doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are. And it doesn't have to be. We always have the power within us to start change and to be better and move past that. We don't have to keep being what other people think we are or what we thought we were even. So congratulations. I love that journey for you. Probably a hard journey too. Like, that one sounds tough. All right, next one. I am so proud of myself. I have overcome so much in my life, but lately it's my relationship. We love a good relationship story. I'm done. And usually he will message me and I fall right back into his web. But now I've moved on and I am proud of myself. I can now love my life without him. That says live my life. It works the same way. I can now live my life without him and all the toxic shit we went through. He still messages me, but when you're done in your heart, you're done, as am I. Yay! I love that for you. Relationships are really, really, really hard, and they definitely have a way of changing how we navigate life, how we navigate ourselves, what we tolerate, what we put up with, and kind of who we become and how we start to act. Like you use the word toxic, and that is so true. Like when a relationship's just not healthy and starts to get toxic, like we all get toxic in it. And that's tough and so easy to fall back into. So, congratulations on finding your self-worth. Congratulations on loving yourself and stepping away from that. Congratulations on removing yourself from the toxicity and being able to heal and grow and live and love your life without that. We love it. Next, losing 45 pounds. Check you out. That's amazing. You know how much 45 pounds actually is? Can we just acknowledge how much 45 pounds is? If you follow any of my socials, you've seen my dog, my whole dog. And it's not a small dog, it's a big dog. My dog is 45 pounds. Actually, she's 48 pounds, but same, but different, right? 45 pounds is a whole other being. It's like a 6-year-old child. That is, that's a lot. Congratulations. Congratulations to the dedication that would have taken and the efforts that would have been. Congratulations for that journey, whether you have so much more to go or you are like, nailed it. I am here and I am comfortable and I am proud. Come ask me when I've lost 45 pounds. I'm not there. Maybe never, but wouldn't it be nice? No, congratulations. I'm super proud of you. That weight loss journey is a tough one for sure. All right. Actively working towards self-compassion rather than shame for my younger self. Self-compassion is a tough one. Even for the most empathetic and compassionate people, right? Self-compassion it does not come easy, right? And call it what you will, like giving yourself grace or feeling some compassion towards yourself or being able to forgive yourself. We don't do that well. We are very much our own worst critics, holding ourselves to a different standard than maybe we would hold others to, and being harder on ourselves than we might be on another person. So I love that you can acknowledge that you're actively working towards that, and I'm sure that doesn't always come easy, but what a gift you are giving yourself. What a thing to celebrate. So congratulations on that. And again, with the shame of the younger self, there's clearly a theme here. And congratulations on that. Congratulations on that. And hopefully that self-compassion can, that shame can turn to just some love and acceptance of that little younger you, because they deserve it. They deserve it. You deserve it. They deserve it. All right. Next one says, most people may not know this about me. Me and cleaning do not go hand in hand. I have been putting off vacuuming and deep cleaning my carpets. Alas, I'm still an adult and I refuse to live in a barn with 2 golden retrievers. So, as a way to motivate me, I spent $1,000 on a new vacuum and carpet cleaner for the house. The vacuum has LED lights and the carpet cleaner has an attachment to deep clean the stairs. Ooh, I wish I had a little applause machine. Ooh, this is so fancy. When I say I've never been more excited to own these things as an adult now. So did I just spend $1,000 just to motivate me to do basic housework? Yes. Did the housework get done though? Also, yes. Congratulations. Congratulations on getting the housework done. And congratulations on finding a thing to make it, I don't know, more enjoyable to do. I wish I could say I can't relate, because I always use it as this term that I'm this is how I know I'm getting older. But I too, new vacuum a couple months ago. I bragged about it to the whole wide world. Every time I use it, I'm like, ooh, my fancy vacuum. I don't know why. We get older and we're like, yes, vacuums. Or maybe it really is just as you talked about, the idea of knowing that the house is just a little bit cleaner. We like that. We like to know we're not living in a cesspool of pond scum. I don't know. You didn't say that. Those are my words. But I get it. LED lights, on the front of it so you can vacuum in the dark. And also, are you vacuuming in the dark? Is that a thing? Are we testing out those LED lights? Just asking for a friend. I like a new vacuum too. I like a clean house and I don't want to do it. But they say that a lot too about like if you start working out, right? Like you go buy like cute new workout clothes or new running shoes or whatever. And you're like, okay, I can't wait to wear that. So then you go and, it encourages you to go work out and go to the gym or whatever. So that's very exciting. Congratulations. And I feel that in my soul a little bit. So I hope that you guys can see there's a big range. Like some of us, we're celebrating vacuum cleaners or we're celebrating being able to accept our younger selves, which that's such a big spectrum. And, we all have that. We all have those great big moments. Whenever I filmed the Mother's Day episode, just even being able to look back over some of those things and have my kids talk about like the gold star moments. I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty. I remember being proud of myself and how I accomplished that as well. Caden got a hold of me after I had already recorded that episode. And I had also asked him, like, what's a gold star moment? And he referenced this time that I had bought him basketball tickets to go see LeBron James play in a different state because that was the closest place we could go. And so we had a whole like weekend trip to go watch LeBron James. And it was very exciting. It was very wonderful. I was so proud of myself. I was like, this is the best gift I've ever given. I'm a shitty gift giver. I'm just not. I used to think I was a great gift giver. I'm not. That gold star, A++++++++++. I've always been very proud of myself for those basketball tickets. And so after all of these years to have him also say like that was a gold star moment, I'm like, yes, I did it. Point in telling this now is also to say like I've been proud of myself for that for years and years, and like it finally came back around. And like words out of his mouth. And I'm like, that is fantastic. And so I think, again, it goes back to what I originally was talking about. Like, we don't always have somebody around to tell us like, yes, gold star moment for you. Yes, be so proud of yourself. No, sometimes it really just is up to us to be so proud of ourselves, to do those amazing things. And then maybe somebody noticed and they'll acknowledge it later, or maybe they won't. And it's okay too. Right? That's okay because we are our own people. We are our own biggest cheerleaders, and we've got to get comfortable doing that. So for everybody that wrote in, I appreciate it. And for the idea, I appreciate you too. That was fun. I love that you guys have an input on what you want to hear and what you want to talk about and what you want to share. That's how we're going to keep this going. That's how we're going to build that community. Before we go, I just want to say, like, I have this thing. I have an appointment this week, a doctor's appointment that I'm actually terrified for. And remember whenever I said that I had a black eye a bunch of months ago, actually 2.5 months ago to be specific, my eye is just really not healed the right way. And I'm starting to see some long-term impacts and I'm actually really scared about it. And so I have to go to the doctor for that. And so I'm scared, but I'm also proud of myself that I made a doctor's appointment because I hate going to the doctor. So, and I'm scared of the results. Like I'm scared that they're going to be like, yeah, it's permanent damage. Yeah, we can't fix it. We're so sorry. I'm also really scared that they're going to be like, yeah, the only way to fix this is going to be to like, I don't know, plastic surgery or inject botulism into your face every month or something like that. Like all of the things I don't want to hear. So like I'm worried about that. And I think that's why I don't go to the doctor a lot. But I am proud of myself because I made an appointment and I'm going. And I actually have 2 doctor's appointments that day. I made a doctor's appointment to go get a mammogram done. Whenever I had been talking about it a couple of months ago to some of my girlfriends, they were like, what? You're past the age that you should have gone to do that. Like, you need to go do that. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want to go. So I made this appointment and I've had it for probably 4 or 5 months. Like I put it out as far as I possibly could because I was like, I don't want to go. And I need to mentally prepare for it to be okay. And then I almost canceled it. And then I got some news from a friend that made me rethink canceling this appointment. And so I have that appointment this week as well. And so so proud of myself for making a doctor's appointment to do things I don't want to do and scared to go do either of those things. And proud of myself that I'm going to go. So I think that plays into, I could use that in a couple of different ways, right? The motivation, the toot your own horn, past couple episodes have been very like intertwiney, but that is where I am this week. And I'm a little worried. So, send me happy thoughts. Send me happy thoughts. And with that, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening to this. New episodes come out every single Monday. The video version of Dysfunctionally Yours drops on YouTube every Monday as well. You can follow and engage on Instagram and TikTok at Dysfunctionally Yours Podcast. We are building a community because people need people. Until next week, don't be afraid to be great. Toodles, poodles, bye.